everybody, Good Buddy Mikhail here with...
Lubo!
Hello again, friend.
Yes.
Yes, so we're here talking about stories and events that take place during this AU. I guess a storyline of sorts.
Yeah, a kind of a very loose outline of really major events that pop along, and this is just within our storyline.
Yeah, because it's within like 200 years that that this whole story takes place. So there's a lot of just in between stuff that happen.
Give or take 200 years, yeah.
Yeah,
There's
maybe some before,
there's
maybe
some
some
waffle
after.
room.
Yeah, between 200 and
But-
250.
Yeah, there's a lot of room to play around with the dates, so we've only roughly ordered them from start to finish in relation to those 250 years. Just keep in mind there's a lot of extra space to fill in stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start very, very early.
I will start it off too. Anyway, so the first story is the button story. This is back when Tver was really young, and he's only just recently been able to walk or pitter-patter around. He can walk and stuff, he can explore now. There's no walls up, and there's no, like, collar stuff that he makes him not go through certain doors. Now he's able to just do whatever he wants, because he's just a little BB. And Nevo and Tver don't really know each other all that well. And because Nevo didn't really want to be around him because, one, kids are weird. 2, Vanya throw a fucking fit because he doesn't want him anywhere near him. And Nevo's like, fine, God, it's fine, have your son. You have fun with that, just fill me in what I need to know, blah blah blah. Because he's also kind of an advisor position at this point too, because, you know, he knows this world better than him, so he's both a tutor and an advisor. Tver, however, got really curious and wanted to see what he's all about, and just wanted to keep doing it, and Vanya noticed, and he's like, okay, fine, let's take you to meet this guy properly. Do you want to, like, hold him or whatever? He says to Nevo, and Nevo's like, okay. So, Vanya gently puts Tver in his arms, and Nevo's like, okay, this is alright. And Tver just fucking, very first thing, after just staring at him for a long time, stares, looks at his outfit, grabs a button, yanks it off, and then wiggles out of his arms to go running back to Vanya. And Nevo's like, what the fuck? Well, it doesn't say fuck because it's a child right there, but he's like, okay, fine, whatever. And Vanya's like, heh, I taught you well. Vanya's super proud of him there. It's like, yes, annoy the man that killed all of our people. Good. So Nevo's pissed, and he's like, fine, whatever, have fun. He goes back to his office. Later on, he hears a little on his door. And he's like, what was that? Goes over, opens it, there's the baby. And he's like, okay, what do you want, kid? And Tver just holds up his hand, and he's offering the button back. Nevo's like, thanks? Takes it. Gives him a little piece of candy. He's like, here, you did good, so have a piece of candy. Now off he goes, just running a little pitter-patter of feet down the hall, trying to go fast enough to go running, but not fast enough to fall over.
Those uncoordinated, stumpy little legs.
A few hours later, there's that noise again on the door. He's like, okay, well, now what? He's back. He gives him the candy wrapper. He's like, okay, thanks. So this starts to be a routine of the kid comes by, giving him useless shit, like paper clips, little ends of lollipops, random stuff that he finds. Just useless junk. And then he just runs away without a word. And Nevo at first is kind of annoyed, then he thinks it's kind of cute, and then he starts to look forward to it. And sometimes, if he's in a really good mood, he'll give stuff back, like a candy or a toy or something, and it's just a small bonding experience. And soon, Tver gets comfortable enough that when he opens the door, sometimes he'll come into the room and give him something. Or just hide out in there in general, because under Nevo's desk, because Nevo's body works kind of like a heater, he's very hot-blooded. He runs a constant temperature of like 105, because that's just how his body works. So, he's like a natural heater. So things he's around a lot are really warm. So during like cold days, he'd like sneak under his desk. Vanya fucking hates it so much.
Of course he does.
And there started their relationship.
With button stealing.
And giving
It's
useless
what-
junk.
Yeah, some toddlers do that. They will just bring you things. I had that happen to me in a Starbucks once. This kid kept bringing me pieces of paper that I had thrown away while I was working on a paper. He thought that I had lost them, so he kept giving them to me.
That's cute.
It was. His mother was just snickering off to the side. Apparently he did that to everybody.
Oh.
Now, next thing pops along. One of the many things. The Chicken Debacle.
We like to have some comic relief sometimes, because shit can get really heavy.
Yes, especially in this AU. It gets really sad sometimes. So, moments of brevity are much appreciated, and this is one of them. Somebody, not naming any names here, forgot to actually pilfer a chicken for the evening meal. Because at this point, Vanya has kind of talked him into having an evening meal with the kid. Kid's at this point is very clearly attached to him. And Vanya hates the guy, yes, but he also wants his boy to be happy. Conflict. Nevo decides to create a chicken specifically for that task. And, of course, Vanya was like, what is this? This isn't a natural thing. You made this chicken. There's gotta be something wrong with it. Maybe it'll be made entirely of livers on the inside or something. Nevo gets kind of pissed. He gets carried away making chickens over and over again just to prove to him that he can make a completely normal chicken. What's wrong with you? He's gonna rub it in the doubtful Vanya's face that he can actually do it. It turns into a 40-odd cascade of clucking feathery chickens whose weight breaks the door open. Taros was on the other side, a little kind of pattering against the door because he wanted to know what the fuss was about. He was buried under their feathery onslaught. He's fine, just kind of stunned and covered in feathers. And he yells, "Chicks, Alitsa!" and off he goes to chase them. And there's a whole lot of noise and a whole lot of feathers, and Vanya has to take a moment to bang his head against the wall before he goes to go fix the feathery invasion.
Granted, the Devera thing was cute.
It was. It was very
Worth
cute.
it.
It was cute, yes, but now he has to clean up the chickens and presumably eat chicken for the next 2 weeks. Thank you, Cat. Nevo is henceforth banned from making chickens for years after. Fair manages to catch one and name it Sand, because it is brown. At this point, Vanya has kept a small garden for a few years. Just something to kind of teach not only Tver how to grow things, but to teach Nevo about the importance of having actual seasons. He has to do that at some point. The bird is kept there for eggs, weeding, and pest control until a Marimochi swallowed the entire hen house with sand in it and ate it. Tver got a really rough lesson that day on how predators work.
Sad day.
Thanks, jerk.
Yeah. Though, now we go from the only kind of sad comic relief to the actual sad. Speaking of things eating people, again, this is during the days where the walls weren't up and Tver could still go around the compound, just willy-nilly, and outside. One day, the little Tver went outside and saw something that looked like Vanya, and he is like, "It's Papa, go see what's going on." And goes, and just keeps going and going until there's like a cave, and it's like, this is weird, I don't remember this, and goes inside trying to find Papa. That's not fucking Papa, and that's not fucking cave, it's a monster's mouth. Apparently, this monster is kind of like an anglerfish, and had something similarly, to look kind of humanish. Probably formed it to look like whatever adult was around this kid to, lure it off. And giant thing, gonna eat it, stuck in its mouth, but here comes Vanya to yank little Tver out of its mouth. And this thing's fucking gigantic, like many, many stories high, and it's like, oh, fuck. So Nevo gets called out, yelled out. Nevo probably felt the commotion, so he probably came around too, and he's like, oh, fuck no. So he tells him to go hide in a bush or something, just hide in a bush. They do, and he turns into his Eldritch Abomination form to fight it, because it's like, you want to fucking try to eat my kid? You want to try to eat my lamb? Fuck you! And it's gonna changes, because this is the first time Tavera ever sees him in his Eldritch Abomination form. And there's a fight, and Vanya's like, okay, I'm getting the fuck out of here. And they go down to the vault, and the fight is really bad. Like, they take out half of the compound because the fight's really bad, because this thing's really fucking strong. How it got in, we have no idea. Well, then again, it's open air, so it probably just snuck in. So, Nevo wins, and he eats it, because that's what he does. He eats whatever predators are around, because he's kind of territorial. And he doesn't want anything to, you know, kill his fucking people. And so, he comes back, eventually. He's really roughed up. And he makes a comment of, like hell, I'm gonna let anything happen to my son. And Vanya's like, fucking excuse you? Did you just say my son? This is my son, you piece of shit. And there starts that, because, again, that's the first time he ever refers to him as his son. And so it's like, the sort of realization of, holy shit, I actually love this kid, and I'll fucking kill anything that tries to do anything to him. Because that's kind of scary of, wow, my kid was almost eaten, something I really cared about. I should probably take more precautions about this. And Vanya's like, okay, fine, whatever. If you're going to consider him your kid, you're gonna have to promise me that no matter what happens in coming up, you will not abandon him. You will not just shove him in a corner or anything. You will treat him like an actual son, and you will be a parent to him, not just a godfather figure or whatever. And it was like, fine, sure, whatever. So, that happens, and so slowly the compound's rebuilt, but it's rebuilt with the walls around and the towers and everything to make it what it looks like today. So things can't get in very easily. And little Tver just follows Father around, because Father did kind of save him from this terrible monster. Technically Vanya did, but Nevo's the one who killed the monster. And he gives him a single shoe in thanks, and it's like, I don't need that, kiddo, it's okay. But then he realizes, if he doesn't have his shoes, he can't go outside. If he can't go outside, he won't get eaten. So there started the not the law, per se, but the rule of no having shoes inside, because, well, holy ground, lol, and they can't go outside or else they're gonna get eaten.
Yeah. He kind of tried to twist it around as it being some sort of religious thing. No, he just got kind of paranoid.
Yeah, paranoid and anxiety do not mesh well together.
No. Unfortunately, it got a little bit worse. Mikhail got sick. He had to go, and Vanya told him that this was a nation-kind sickness. This was not something that he could just magic away or cure with conventional medicine. And that, of course, made him deeply unnerved. I just saved this kid, from being eaten. Now he's going to die of an illness that I can't fix. Great. Just great. Vanya's like, calm down. Just take him home. What? Take him home. Back to his home soil. Root him there. And of course that means he has to give up ownership, so to speak, of it. But if he doesn't, the kid's hold on the world is going to kind of come loose and he's gonna die. So, Nevo agrees, because he doesn't want this kid to die. He's been sleeping in this kid's room for the last couple days. He's watched him decline. He ain't gonna risk it.
Yeah, and so he just got being okay with being his dad, so it's like, fuck no, I'm not gonna let this slide.
So he takes him back. He takes him over to, I think it's Tver Oblast, but yeah. He takes him back, and while he's there, letting the kiddo recover, and kind of rooting him there, and taking care of all the paperwork and whatnot, he kind of notices that the people there are behaving differently now. They're full of life again. They're happy to see him there, even though they've never met him before. They're amiable. They have life to them. They are expressing themselves again. And it made him realize having the nation kind around that belongs to this area actually helps the people after all. And it kind of makes the people like him more. Having Tver like him might sway them to be able to come back to his side. It gives him the idea that if he brings the other nation kind back just like this, he'd be able to have full control of the world without having to run everything by himself. He hangs on to this idea well after Tver recovers and starts being the bouncy little cretin that he normally is. And eventually, when they go home, he tells Vanya about it. Vanya's like, no, you asshole, what are you doing? But, of course, he gives it some thought. After the initial bulking happens, it inspires him to go through with it. Because if he does that, it gives him the opportunity to recover and bring back everybody else. This is that turning point where all the other lambs become an option again, and Tver becomes less a bargaining chip for Vanya, and more of a prototype for his father, well, quote-unquote, father, Nevo. Nevo kind of realizes, oh, I'm really concerned about this kid and his well-being. I love this child. Holy shit. Ugh. The lambs happen later.
And also during this, Vanya realizes that, yeah, Nevo's kind of a heater. And that's probably one of the reasons why Tver kept going to him a lot when he was younger, because he was really warm. So sometimes it wasn't just affection-based.
Sometimes. Though, having him wake up from nightmares and ask for Nevo to calm him down instead of his actual father stung a lot.
Yeah.
He just kind of sighs. Bitter. Yeah. Now.
Speaking of bitter.
Yes!
We get the lambs introduced and the start of Arthur's bitterness. A lot of people notice, it's like, why is he so mean and bitter? He kind of has a reason, other than just being a little twat. Let's be honest here, he kind of is.
He kind of is a little twat.
Yeah.
But he's got his reasons.
Yeah. Here's the start of it, though. So, there is the sort of village sort of attached to the compound, to get a lot of their, not merchandise, but, things, have people.
Merchandising.
And one of the children of the compound's village was eaten by a mochi, mostly American mochi, and, it was really sad and stuff. But, again, Nevo has the power to bring people back from the dead. And so he decided for the lambs to witness this, to yeah, look at the powers that I can do, and stuff like that, and kind of prove it as a public example of the miracles he can perform. So he does, he brings the kid back to life from this fucking dead-ass mochi. And Arthur was blown away, cause it's like, he's a wizard! Father's the real deal, he can teach me magic! Of course, Nevo's like, I actually can't, these are powers I inherited, so I can't really pass them on or really teach them. It's just something I have inside. And Arthur's like, no, there has to be a way for it. And Nevo's like, I don't know. Later on, Arthur notices Nevo and Tver talking to each other, and they're starting to use weird words like woo-woo and Gigi and other weird odd words, Johnny, blah blah blah. And he notices also that Tver seems to be able to open Father's locked room with these words. So it's like, you're having favoritism and teaching him magic words! And Nevo's like, what? And he starts to try to bully Tver into giving him, magic. And this goes absolutely nowhere, because it's not actually magic, it's just language. And finally, out of desperation, he tries to mimic the hexes that the only other spell-slinging thing that visits the compound. England mochi. Because, they're close enough, right? He can totally figure that out, right? So, it fails 9 out of 10 times. But the 10th time, he wishes grave illness on the shepherd for denying him sweets for another week of an outburst. Vanya ends up bedridden for a week and a half with an economy-based fever. Whoops, thanks, asshole. Arthur is utterly horrified at what he's done, and is the one to get the lambs together to send their shepherd a get-well present, which is mostly just a big old card that Philly painted on and they all signed and drew on. He's far more careful with his magic from then on and learned some considerable restraint, so lesson learned. Enough.
Speaking of his sickness, so thanks to Arthur cursing the shit out of him, Vanya ends up getting really sick, and he's fat on his bed. Nevo's mortified because of course the man can't stay still for 2 seconds, so Vanya basically is ordered on bed rest. All the other little lambs are kind of concerned. Okay, they're a lot concerned, to the point where Alfred is hiding his dinner so he can put it on Vanya's forehead to fix him. Burger forehead. Apply
Some
burger
things
to
don't
forehead.
change.
And some things never change. Vanya won't stop trying to get out of bed and tend to his students. But Nevo assures him he can handle it, because how hard can it be? Vanya seems to be getting along just fine. He makes it look easy, so it's gotta be easy. Newsflash! It's fucking hard. He flounders. None of the lambs respect him as much as he thought they did, and just like a substitute teacher, all of them gang up on him to push their boundaries. He barely survives the ordeal, but they all get their just desserts when Vanya gets back on his feet.
Yeah, most of them get punished, except for, Philly. Philly and Matthew, because nobody believes him when Alfred says that Matthew's been vanishing for several hours at a time. But Matthew's like, no, I've just been in the corner, just reading. It's like, no, actually, he has been sneaking out to go visit Komajiro.
Yep, this is where Komajiro happens. He's been using his invisibility powers, so to speak, quote-unquote, to go and see his new friend. This is also really the first bonding moment between the two adults on their own, without having to use Tver or the other lambs as an intermediary. After finally getting the lambs down for bed, or given any moment where he has a quiet time to himself, Nevo tries to make him point to check up on Vanya regularly, as much to see how he's doing, because he's kind of actually worried about him, as he is trying to get ideas of how to corral the little brats. Vanya, being sick as a dog, he has chills he can't get rid of, so Nevo floats the idea of being a heater for him, as he did with Tver when he was ill as a young boy. Vanya promptly rejects and goes, hell no! I'm not sharing my bed with you! Ugh, stay away from me! But eventually, he's talked into just Nevo staying on above the covers, away from him on the other side of the bed, because he averages around 105 degrees Fahrenheit, so he has plenty of warmth to share. It actually works. He finally gets a good night's sleep because of it.
Yay. Now we get for something that also kind of stemmed from bitterness, but also a group lamb story of the Red Eye story, which is really sad-ish. So, Tver really wants Nevo's attention, but it's kind of hard when his attention's kind of divided between all of the lambs. And, also needing to rule the earth and all. And so he's kind of feeling unloved and ignored, and he just wants to be more like Father, He really idolizes him. He wants to be just like him. He wants powers, he wants red eyes, and all that stuff. Yao and Arthur overhear that he wants red eyes. And they say they heard a trick that if you put sriracha in your eyes, literally put it in there like an eyedropper, they'll make the iris really red, just like his. Tver, unfortunately, believes them and does so. And, oh man, it hurts. Oh, it's so sad. Nevo and Vanya go to help him because he's just screaming in agony. And Tver mentions that he just wanted red eyes like Father, Vanya just stares at Nevo, being like, way to go, asshole. And Nevo's like, "Ch-ch-ch." But Nevo feels kind of guilty about it, so he takes Tavera aside to actually help him heal, while Vanya goes to punish the other two, cause don't be an asshole to his kid. Tavera and Nevo get to talking, while he's healing his eyes up and stuff. And Nevo tells him how his eyes are actually a curse, and they hurt a lot. It's not good to have them. It's not just for aesthetics or anything, or make him a better person. It's actually really bad. And Tavera says he doesn't care, he just wants them, he wants to be like him. So, after some thought, and when Tavera's eyes are healed up, Nevo gives him some red-eyed contacts, to see if he would want red eyes or not, if he was older or something. At first, Tavera's like, yeah, I'm gonna be like father, woo! But the contacts, little does he know, were soaked in cleaner. So they hurt a lot. So
you could go blind from that stuff.
Yeah.
Nevo, why?
Yeah, at first it's fine. It's like, yeah, sure, I'll just blink it away a little bit. I'll get a little teary-eyed, but the longer it goes on, the more it stings. And it's like, ugh. It's a weird mixture of saline and cleaner. And so it's like, ugh. So he tries to keep a straight face with them a lot of the day, spooks a lot of the kids and Vanya out. But he ends up crying in pain because it hurts. And Nevo tells him that being like him isn't a good idea. He wants what's best for him. Even if he says, he wants something and, thinks it's a good idea, sometimes the parents know best on this one. And so he takes him out and, again, heals his eyes a little. It's a little bit of a bonding experience. This gets Nevo to start thinking about his relationship with Tavera more, and thinking about putting him up as heir of yeah, he's really close to me, maybe I should do something about that. And also just spending more time with him in general instead of just being kind of locked away all the time. And a bit of concern of Tavera for following so closely in his footsteps. Because he's not exactly a good man to, emulate. And he knows it.
It's good that he finally kind of realizes that. It's real. It means he's starting to kind of come down a peg off of his high horse.
Yep.
For some levity, after that, we get some of the Mochi companions. Vanya ends up befriending a German emoji to be a kind of sorta cleaning / guard dog thing for their area, using payment in baked potatoes and sausages. It sleeps in the emergency hatch connecting the rooms of the hallway and the nursery. During the day, it sleeps, but during the night, it makes rounds so that for any other creature that may have gotten in, and cleans up whatever litter or clutter is around. Sometime later, a Canada mochi is found in the nursery trying to help one of the sick kids. Looking at you, Arthur. And Vanya decides to maybe keep that one around too. Not to mention the German emoji would finally have a buddy. They agree to stay, so it tries to be a helpful assistant whenever it can, get put in that little pouch to good use. Both emojis are used to teach the children of how to be wary of emojis in general, and what demonstrations they need to give, throwing the flags out. It kind of makes them a test subject. The joke names of the two are Kanana, kind of like Nana from Peter Pan, that poor dog, and Domovoichi, because German emoji is like the resident Domovoi, so says the old man. Well, kind of. It's a pun. After the fall, though, and after the rebellion,
and stuff.
Yeah, they both actually stay with Vanya and accompany him in wherever he goes. So it's kind of like this tight bond that they've made together.
Yeah, like pets, but really close. Helpful. They're like service animals in a way.
Yeah, in a way. Except one is always scary and defaults to grumpy looking.
Yeah, he's just got resting bitch face.
Yep.
And the other's just nice. And just tries to be a nana, just does his best, hands out papers to the class, and it's cute. But yeah, and that's where I think we're gonna stop because we're getting close on time, so we get a lot more of the more heavy, later stuff next. Ooh. So this is a lot of the childhood stuff, and now we get to the really turning points.
When things start to slide downhill and they get really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, things are... the first half of the story, quote-unquote, is, kind of... It's a little more lighthearted, but as they grow up and tensions start to rise, it gets really bad really fast.
Yeah. Yeah, that's gonna be for next time, especially since the first story we're gonna be covering next time has a bit of gore in it. Oh boy.
Yep, I drew that!
Yay.
Yay!
You drew a lot of these.
I did.
And I did too.
Yes, and you
Yay.
did too.
But yes, so have a good day, everybody. Bye.
Bye!
The mochis are cute, though.
They are.